Using his shovel for support, he managed to get to his feet. "Where are we supposed to go to the bathroom?" he asked Magnet. Magnet gestured with his arms to the great expanse around them. "Pick a hole, any hole," he said. Stanley staggered across the lake, almost falling over a dirt pile. Behind him, he heard Magnet say, "But first, make sure nothing's living in it." After leaving Mira's house, Anya wandered aimlessly through the town, until he found himself down by the wharf. He sat on the edge of the pier and stared down into the cold, black water. He could not understand how Mira had trouble deciding between him and Igor. He thought she loved him. Even if she did love him, couldn't she see what a foul person Igor was? It was like Madame Giorni had said. Her head was as empty as a flower pot. Some men were gathering on another deck, and he went to see what was going on. A sign read, "Deckhands wanted. Free passes to America." He had no sailing experience, but the ship's captain signed him abroad. The captain could see that Elnia was a man of great strength. Not everybody could carry a full-grown pig up the side of a mountain. It wasn't until the ship had cleared the harbor and was heading out across the Atlantic. Then he suddenly remembered his promise to carry Madame Giorni up the mountain. He felt terrible. He wasn't afraid of curse. He thought that was a lot of nonsense. He felt bad because he knew Madame Giorni had wanted to drink from the stream before she died. Zero was the smallest kid in Group D, but he was the first one to finish digging. "You are finished?" Stanley asked ambitiously. Zero said nothing. Stanley walked to Giorni's hole and watched him measure it with his shovel. The top of his hole was a perfect circle, and the sides were smooth and steep. Not one dirt cloud more than necessary had been removed from the earth. Zero pulled himself up the surface. He didn't even smile. He looked down at his perfectly dug hole, spat in it, and turned and headed back to the camp compound. "Zero's one weird dude," said Zigzag. Stanley would have left, but he didn't have any strength. Zigzag had to be the weirdest dude Stanley had ever seen. He had a long skinny neck and a big round head with wild frizzy blonde that stuck out of all directions. His head seemed to bomb up and down on his neck like it was a spring. Armpit was the second one to finish digging. He also spat into his hole before heading back to the camp compound. One by one, Stanley watched each of the boys spit into his hole and return to the camp compound. Stanley kept digging. His hole was almost up to his shoulder, although it was hard to tell exactly where ground level was, because his dirt piles completely surrounded by the hole. The deeper he got, the harder it was to raise the dirt up and out of the hole. Once again, he realized he was going to have to move the piles. His cap was stained with blood from his hands. He felt like he was digging his own grave. In America, Elnia learned to speak English. He fell in love with a woman named Sarah Miller. She could push a plow, milk a goat, and most important, think for herself. She and Elnia often stayed up half the night talking and laughing together. Their life was not easy. Elnia worked hard, but bad luck seemed to follow him everywhere. He always seemed to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. He remembered Madame Giorni telling him that she had a son in America. Elnia was forever looking for him. He'd walk to the complete strangers and ask if they knew someone named Giorni, or had ever heard of anyone named Giorni. No one did. Elnia wasn't sure what he'd do if he ever found Madame Giorni's son anyway. Carry him up the mountain and sing a pig lullaby to him? After his barn was struck by lightning for the third time, he told Sarah about his broken promise to Madame Giorni. "I'm worse than a pig thief," he said. "You should leave me, and find someone else who isn't cursed. I'm not leaving you, said Sarah, but I want you to do one thing for me.